You close the doors, close the windows, do absolutely everything so that no one gets to you, but these creatures don't care, and they will get into the house and find you. Today we will analyze an analog horror called Obelisk by the author Lizard Menning. This horror is inspired by Backrums, so all fans of the Backstage will be interested. Before starting this video, I ask you to subscribe to my channel. We are going to the goal of 10,000 subscribers, so help me with this goal and just subscribe. It will be very easy for you, and I am very pleased. Also, please do not forget to put your like and write your opinion about the horror in the comments. If you have any comments or theories after watching, then also write them in the comments. And we move on to the analysis. The first episode starts with the caption, "I have a new friend. Do you want to meet him? He lives here, right in my closet." Do you see it? After a second, the camera footage stops and then the room seems to change and you can see it in the closet. But then the creature disappears and we can't see it anymore. And underneath it says, "He doesn't like being watched." But it seems like the person filming this has no fear, so he opens the cabinet to see what's inside. But he doesn't find anything and wonders where he went. Another recording starts where the guy holding the camera is watching TV and then says that sometimes a friend comes over to watch TV together. After a short pause, we hear sounds of someone approaching. The guy takes the camera and says he's here. He goes to another part of the house and then says the phrase "he's on top." Can you see him? What happened here? What kind of creature is this that lives in a man's house? And he's not even scared, he says that he's his friend. I have only one thought in my head to explain all this. The person who's filming everything is just crazy, and everything we see is this strange creature, it's his imagination. And by the way, in the description under the episode there is a phrase "pilfer." Most likely this is the name of this monster. It translates into Russian as a thief, or to steal. I don't know why he's a thief because we didn't see him steal anything. Now we can move on to the next episode. It's called How to Prevent a Home Invasion. Home invasions are rare, but they happen more often to those who are not prepared, so this video gives us advice. And the first piece of advice is to lock all the doors and windows, and also fence them with something. If the intruder stands at the closed door for a long time, then most likely he will leave. Tip 2. If he managed to get into the house, then please evacuate. Don't find out anything, just leave. Tip 3. If you can't escape, try to hide and sit quietly. Tip 4. Get ready to defend yourself. Take something heavy or sharp that you can use as a weapon. If you have a firearm, now is the time to take it. Tip 5. If your front door wasn't locked, don't look for this man in your house. I don't know why the author showed this, but it seems he thought it was necessary. And we will consider it necessary to move on to the next episode, which is called You Almost Left. The description says oddities discovered. We watch everything from the camera, which is lying on the floor, and someone enters the house. This someone is of an incomprehensible shape. His giant face is covered with a black square. Then we see the other side, where this creature is no longer there, but the door is still open. The next frame changes and we see a strange, long creature already in the forest. The frame changes again and we do not see anyone, but we see that the door on the left is swinging, which means that the creature that came is already inside this house. I think that such a quick change of frames tells us only one thing. The hero shows everything strange that he was able to capture on camera. The creature that came to the house is very similar in shape to Pillfire, the same one we saw in the first episode, and the creature in another frame from the main character's archive looks like something else. As he notes in the description, this is something strange. Judging by the thin shape of the arms and legs, we can assume that this is his relative. The next episode is called In Your House. The description says the doors were locked. The main character is lying on the bed, and we hear a baby crying or something like that. The protagonist says he needs to check on Abby. He unlocks the door he locked with the table, removing the table, and heads into the hallway. He walks further and further through the house and finally reaches the nursery where the crib is. It looks like Abby and his daughter should be here, but it looks like Abby isn't here, but this is. The creature seems to kill the main character. It parodied the sounds of a child to call him. Then this creature and the inscription just appear. The doors were closed. Apparently, that guide about taking doors from intruders meant exactly these monsters. Well, it seems that a locked door will not save you from this creature, which can even parody the voice of a child. The next episode is called House Without Windows, and the description says, "I know your face." Everything happens from the point of view of another main character who says, "Recently I found a strange and abandoned house. There are no other built houses around it, and it is apparently located in the middle of nowhere." The main character examines this house around and claims that it has no doors or even windows. It seems that there are no obvious ways inside. After a long search, he finally finds a flat piece of wood that seemed to be hiding something. He removes it and sees that there is a passage into the house after all. The main character of this episode is very interested in what secret this house hides, so he climbs inside. He crawls through the dirt under the foundation of this house. He does not find anything interesting, but at some point he still crawls to the passage. He sets up a camera at home and climbs up himself. And finally, the study of this very strange house without doors and windows begins. He says that it smells like burnt matches. It seems that someone is still inside. He moves to the left to see what is there. And the degree of strangeness of this house increases because there is a table and chairs that stand on the ceiling. In addition, a light bulb is connected to an outlet that is below. Apparently, someone just glued the table and chairs, as well as the light bulb, to the ceiling. Why? It is not clear. The strangeness of this room does not end, because on the left we see a door that seems to be simply drawn. But this does not stop the brave main character, and he goes to other rooms to examine them. A giant door appears in front of him, and he notices this, talking about why such a tall door is here. Probably whoever lives here is large. But he did not lock the door, so the protagonist goes inside. He notices that in some rooms the lights are on, which is another proof that someone is here. He looks down where he sees blood but does not pay attention to it, and then this happens. It seems that the main character did not notice this, only the camera captured it, and he moves to the left without checking who is in front. On the left, there was another room which he enters, opening two large doors. In this room, everything is unusual: colorful objects, tables, chairs, a light bulb, a staircase, but the main character is interested in the inscription, "Be calm, no God." He reads the inscription and the recording is interrupted and then starts again in the same room. Of the interesting things, we could notice eyes, white eyes that look at the main character. Either this creature is invisible and it can be seen when the film in the camera is turned on, or this is a malfunction of the camera film. The adventures in this house continue. The main character opens other large doors and then says the phrase, "large corridors," and the corridors, by the way, are really huge. He goes to the left into a very long corridor where a large passage somewhere is visible, also a staircase. There is actually a staircase in this passage, but it leads to nowhere, absolutely nowhere, with the ceiling above. All this surprises the protagonist, but he does not stop. He goes back to inspect the other passages and notices a door that is too high. He also claims that this is too high a door to reach, so he turns around, but a creature appears from behind. It seems that we will not learn further events with this monster and the man who climbed into this strange house, because the monster killed him. This is the last episode in the analog horror obelisk, but what was it about and what happened in it? Let's think about it. It all started with a man who films a creature with whom he seems to have become friends and is not afraid of it. In the next episode, we are told that we need to close doors and windows, as well as barricade them in order to get rid of intruders. Apparently, these intruders are monsters that live in this world, and they are the ones who can get into the house, and we need to hide and protect ourselves from them. As evidence of this information, in the next episode, we immediately see the creature that got in through the door that was not closed. The third episode is a prequel to the first. The creature got into the house, and already in the first episode we see it. Some creatures here are harmless, like in the first episode. It seems they do not attack a person, and already in the fourth episode we see a creature that stole a child. In this world, ordinary people and strange creatures live. In order not to meet them, you need to protect your home and hide from them. People know about their existence. The second episode is a guide on how to deal with these creatures, but will a door or a closed window stop them? Obviously not. In the fourth episode, the monster still got through, although the door was closed, as the main character says. But still, the monster came and stole his child and then apparently killed him. Some people make radical decisions. For example, in the last episode, we see a house without windows and doors so that the monsters definitely do not get in. So what? Did it help? Of course not. We see a monster inside the house, which, like the main character, seems to have gotten through a hole in the foundation. Yes, we didn't see a dead person inside, but we heard a phrase about the smell of burnt matches. It smells like sulfur. Gray also smells when a person decomposes. Of course, I didn't smell it, but I read it on the internet. It smells like candles, which is exactly what they say about human decomposition. So, the creature got into the house through the foundation, killed the person, and began to live there, changing everything in this house. And, by the way, the monster from the last episode recognized the main character. We see the subtitles below. These are the words of the monster. They are highlighted in red. The man from the first and fourth episodes are the same person. The monster recognized him. This is his friend. It was not for nothing that I emphasized that the guy from the first episode is some kind of crazy person, because only a crazy person would climb into a house without windows and doors just out of curiosity. Much in this analog horror was not revealed, but the author, I hope, will continue to release the next episodes. You can go to his channel and write him words of support. I think he will be pleased. You can also say hello to him from me. As such, we do not know the conclusion of the plot yet. We just saw this terrible world where creatures live, from which it is impossible to hide, even in your own barricaded house. The author was obviously inspired by Backrooms, because the whole setting is very similar to Backrooms. And in general, the first thing he tried in the field of analog horrors were skibidi toilets. Horror on skibidi toilets. But it has nothing to do with the horror obelisk in the plot, so I did not touch on it. In the comments, you can write your opinion about the horror and whether you want to see a sequel. If it is from the author, then I will analyze it. Also in the comments, you can write your comments on this horror, well, and your theory, and in general I advise everyone to watch it in the original. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel, put your like. Thank you all for watching, and bye-bye.